following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo! Here we are, the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. And what a great show today. Okay, we got rid of the person that makes the annoying noises for today so that we could have a serious show. And because one of our longest running shows of the whole station, besides mine, and even was on my show before starting the network, is with us today, somebody that I respect highly, that is all about, and it's that guy up there, right there. It's that guy right there, but he's going to come on live. And he is the pet health guru. And I love the pet health guru because, I mean, listen, I used to have a pug that I strictly went by the pet health guru's recommendations, and she lived longer than any other pug ever did. Okay. And I never took her to the vet ever, never needed to. So he also has a great show on this station called Pet Health Cafe. He's the reason we started the Health and Wellness Network and the Pet Health Network. And so if you love your pets, you want to be here for this show because this man is a walking encyclopedia of how pets can be healthy and live much longer lives so they can be your companion for a lot longer. So let's now welcome to the show our pipe nuts and the pet health guru.
Thank you, Pipe Man, for that great intro. I really love it. Yeah, you're right. I was there right in the very beginning, and the health network that was part of it as well. Unfortunately, a few of those doctors ended up meeting not so great endings based on what goes on in this field. The pet area, of course, is how we started. And of course, so much of what I do today transfers over into our health as well, because let's face it, we're all mammals, we're all animals, no matter what. The only difference is in the species appropriateness of the diets we have to do. And, as long as we do that, I know a little bit about your history and we are basically what we eat, and medicine isn't always the answer, is it?
No. In fact, food is medicine, whether you're an animal or you're a human or you're a human animal, because there's a lot of them nowadays.
It sure is.
And I want to introduce you to our pipe nuts. Okay. Rebel. She's there right next to you.
Yeah.
Hi. Many years. You never even saw what she looked like. Look at that.
I know.
Look how I got her to show her face. See, she's the one that she's the stuffed animal.
Not stuffed animal, but I figured since it was pet health talk, I brought my little friends.
Yes.
Let me introduce you to my little friend. And then we have up there, we have our resident engineer who basically keeps trying to fill Chad's shoes, Bill. He is in Chad's place, and he's the closest we've come. And that I don't know if you've met him, but there he is. That's Juan in our studio.
Only on the earpiece and on the microphone for a few years.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, until we went TV. But yeah, no, that's like the whole gang is here. That's
See
great.
that? And now
It's a
we're all
reunion.
here live in person. And I just have to say too, by the way, Juan, I have to tell you something, two things. One is I sent you a text that Patty sent me. Patty's like the right-hand person for Bill that we're going to put up on the scrolling ticker. So I'm just letting you know in case you weren't paying attention to your phone.
Yeah, I'm actually
And
emailing it to myself right now.
and then also if and I texted you because she texted me and it was the fastest way while we were in the intro. And also, I don't know what's been happening in my area, but I've been having issues a little bit with the internet with the streaming. I was gonna go out and get some stuff this morning, and then I'm like Bill, like that's a good intention, but then everything's pulling you in many different ways. So
Yeah.
if I have any dropouts, Rebel, take over for me. Don't let there be dead air. Okay,
Any dead air.
dead air when Bill's around because he's got a lot. And I want to start off right off the bat of one of the things you told me a long time ago, Bill, and that is educational for me because I never thought of it. That cats and dogs basically are different. That cats are pure carnivores, and dogs, if I remember you correctly, are opportunist carnivores.
Yeah, more of a scavenger.
Yeah.
So they can live on different things.
So tell us a little bit about that and their differences and why we have those differences.
Well, it was basically created by the creator to be a little bit different. We need certain animals that are going to be basically the apex predator, and that's the cat family primarily. Then we've got the canine family, which is basically part of the cleanup crew. While they have a lot of crossover, while they can hunt and bring down their own food and things of that nature, they're also there to help clean up. At least the better parts of the food, and of course then the bad parts like the intestines and things of that nature that are really, really gross, they leave those for the bugs and the vultures, which are the ultimate, obviously, cleanup machines on this earth.
Hey, somebody's calling me that knows better than to call me during my show that Bill. So I'm going to do what I normally do and make sure to teach a lesson not to call during my show. So here we go. Hold on. I didn't answer quick enough. I'm going to call back, okay? Because
Maybe they realize the time. And
she deserves to get called back for interrupting my show.
Oh, goodness. I wonder who this could be. You never really know. It's always someone.
Can you hear that?
And when he breaks them on the air, you never know what's going to happen.
Please leave your message for
She knew better than
She
answer
must
that.
know better. She must have looked and gone. But if she calls back, we're bringing her on. And you know who else called me recently out of the blue?
Who?
Mickey. Remember Mickey?
Okay, yes. Yeah, before my my original Facebook page was taken down, we still remained friendly. But of course, in the last year, all those followers just had to disappear because I guess social media just didn't like what I was saying.
Yeah, it's terrible when you have great things to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what got you into this and what is it that turned you into the pet health guru?
It's funny because I've kind of reviewed my career life over the last couple of months and realized I was doing so much of this stuff when I was very, very young. Just seeing the differences, not only in the pet field itself, because back then, the pet field was almost nothing. Pet shops did not carry pet foods. There was very little of that available at that point in time. It was mostly about just selling pets and the animals, but also on the human side that I just didn't trust what some of the medical stuff coming down the pike was. I can still claim I haven't been to a doctor in over 30 years.
Nice.
And, I eat clean. I always did, even when I didn't know I was. I tell a story that when I was a rep on the road for 20 some years, I used to have to eat out for 2-3 weeks at a time. And I used to always go to the smallest restaurant I could find that was, kind of family owned and family run, home cooking, things like that. And when I take clients out, we would all sit around the table and menus would be passed out. And I never picked one up, and everybody orders and everything else. And it's like, Bill, you haven't looked at the menu. I said, don't worry about me. And then so when they finally come to me, I'd say, well, what did the chef just buy that he cooked for himself that's fresh cooked and healthy? And I'll take that. And everybody, of course, then would change their orders. But not even thinking about myself being in the health food industry at that point in time or being a health food nut. Of course, now when I look at the whole industry the way it is, of course, we go to medicine to be healthy, and there's no health in medicine. We know that. So then you go to the health food store, and guess what? There's no food. So where do you get your food? The grocery store. And go ahead and try to ask anybody about any of the food items that are in that store and see what your answer is. Actually, you probably won't get an answer. You'll probably just get the strangest look in the world. It's like, we know nothing about what we sell.
Right.
The whole system is upside down.
Upside down, sideways, diagonal, all of it. And, a lot of people don't know this, okay? And I've had these discussions with people. But the whole idea of dry grain food for pets is not because it was good for them. It was because of some other reason having to do with the Great Depression. Tell us a little bit about that, Bill, and how we got to poisoning I won't say that. How we got to giving animals dry, non-tasty food.
Well, basically, and it's funny because I just finished an article in one of my programs on this, on the Pet Health Cafe, but that essentially we, up until the 1950s, probably, because kibble was invented in 1955, we, as a family, you would be feeding your pets whatever you ate. And, a lot of people referred, well, the dogs and cats all got the leftovers. They weren't leftovers. Your grandmother and possibly your mother, if you had a pet, they made sure that there was extra food in that pot for that animal. And I know as a kid, as soon as I was tall enough to reach the sink, my job was washing dishes, the oldest of 4 kids. And my sister wasn't much of a help, but my dog helped clean every single plate that went out on the floor, every pot and pan. I had no work to do, and I had him as a helper because that's what they lived on. And they thrived and they lived over 20 years, dogs, cats, almost 30 years. And we never thought twice about it. And then, of course, modern medicine took over with, those stupid compounds that they put in that plastic tube with a needle. And that started changing the whole health of our animals, the toxicity levels, the same thing with all the medications that aren't even sold as medications. They're sold as preventions for fleas, ticks.
Kind of like, okay, I think it's kind of like those protesters out there right now that are squirting people with squirt guns. Did you hear about that?
No, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, that's
I stay away from normal news. You know that.
Yeah, that's happening recently. Okay. Where there's I'm trying to remember right this second. He just brought it to my mind. I'll have to look at it when he's talking again because it's I don't even remember what they were protesting about. I just remember laughing that they are squirting people as their protest with water. Yes, with water. But is it good ionized water or spring water, or is it our tap water that's toxic? Yeah, right.
The Barcelona aiming at the tourists.
There it is. You're right. Yep. So I was at Barcelona last year, and now this year that's what's happening. Spain in general. Okay, here's that caller. Hold on. Let's bring the caller on. Hello, you're live on the air on the Adventures of Pipeman with Bill, the pet health guru. Do you have a question? Do you have a question for Bill, the pet health guru?
Yeah, how do I get my cat's hair to grow back?
Did you hear that, Bill?
No, I couldn't hear that. Sorry.
Okay, so that was Jessica. You remember Jessica?
Right.
Hey, Jessica.
And
Hello.
Jessica asked, how does she get her cat to grow their hair back?
It's all about nutrition. It's all about a real food. And
They
it's
said,
funny
hold
that
on, before you answer even more, she just said, what, contact dermatitis?
Yeah, from fleas.
It said they have contact dermatitis from fleas.
another one of those fallacies in this medical world. In fact, what I was just going to say, it comes to mind because I got a call this morning from somebody that worked in. There's a product that we have. We have a whole line of those products, but got a call from somebody that works in a health food store, and they called for their boss who wanted to know if I have anything natural for their cat, that the 2-year-old, basically still kitten, that is on Prozac for anxiety.
Are you kidding me?
Prozac.
No.
Wait, what?
Prozac. Yes, on a 2-year, under 2 year for a cat.
What world
And
are
my
we
answer,
living
my
in?
answer was, my answer was, of course, because I know the person that was working there. I said, tell them to get off the freaking processed food, because that's what causes it all. And we don't realize that we've been doing chemicals in our body and in their body for 50 years or more now. And it's not what, Dean, I know some of the health problems you've gone through and the changes you've done in your diet and everything else. But, what happened before you made that change? We're still the result of what our parents gave to us, what our grandparents gave to us. A lot of that transfers through in mom's blood, all those toxins, all those chemicals. So we
Let me
start
tell
out
you
life.
something that happened recently, as a matter of fact. So I was at a festival in Belgium, and you might have missed previous shows, but there was somebody that punched me.
Okay.
And then ended up doing other things that weren't so violent. And she got home and she wasn't feeling good. I won't tell you what she had. Just you imagine what she had. It was something not good.
Right.
Okay.
And I, as soon as I knew that she could possibly be not feeling good, I started taking a bunch of supplements. And she got very, very sick for 2 weeks. And I should have definitely gotten very, very sick.
How close were you with this punch?
We swapped spit. Okay. So let's put it that way. That's how likely it was. And nothing for me. Nothing for me.
Yeah.
Clean eating, supplements, and I'm somebody that is high risk, and I was still in good shape. That's my experience, my opinion, and I say that because we're allowed to say our own experiences and we're allowed to say our own opinions. We're just not allowed to give other people advice based on that. But my experience was, you're sick and I'm not.
Well, the nicer thing would have been for you to say, okay, well, I took these things. Maybe these will make you feel better.
Oh, it was too late for her.
Yep.
You have to head it off at the pass. That's what the bill will tell you. It's like, yeah, of course, if you poison your body with stuff and put things in that you're not supposed to put in your body, and of course, if you're not healthy, you're not active, you're not eating right, and then you get sick, sometimes these things won't work. And then you do have to do other things you may not want to do. You have to keep your body healthy to prepare for those things and be prepared. And I'll let the pet health guru go on with that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is I mean, it's not that the stuff doesn't work, but by the time you get to the point, or your pet gets to the point of illness, because first off, the body tries to hide any kind of illness, because in nature, especially, if you look like a sick animal, if you're not doing well, you're somebody else's dinner. It's
Mm-hmm.
that simple. I mean, the pride of lion doesn't go after, the healthiest, fittest animal. They're eating the sick and the dying and the challenged, which means that when we even look at it in the food chain, it doesn't mean that we have to have the best food all the time, but we need to have good food all the time, which means clean. And that's a big part of it. So now by the time you get sick or you're starting to feel ill, your body's already working on, multiple areas where you have to work on. In the area of supplements, of course, one of the things I've been railing against in the last, probably year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it happens to be, is the supplement business itself. When you go to the health food stores, most of those supplements are made by pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of the same chemicals in them. And if you're taking, for instance, so many supplements contain things like sorbitol and magnesium stearate, and other preservatives and binders and anti-cake agents. And the problem is if you're taking 20 supplements, say, in a day, you're taking 20 times the amount of sorbitol, which is not a good product, into your body. Yeah. So you, wherever possible, move back another step to where's it found in nature. If I need B vitamins, and I know it's going to shock a lot of people, but eat more liver. That's loaded with B vitamins. Okay. If you need to detoxify, I know. If you need to detoxify, though, look at the different herbs.
Liver. We would go to Lester's Diner, and he would order liver and onions, which is a very Jewish thing. And I'd be like, ugh. You know what else he used to do, Bill?
What's that?
He used to also eat tongue, which Jews eat. I'm the only Jew that doesn't eat tongue, pastrami, or corned beef. And I am sacrilegious, too, because if I go to a Jewish deli, I'm putting mayonnaise on my sandwich and ketchup on my hot dog. And, and you are banned from Judaism if you do those things.
Yes, absolutely.
Why? Because it's disgusting.
In some people's minds.
In most Jews' minds, mustard goes on a sandwich and mustard goes on a hot dog. Period.
Wrong with mayonnaise and ketchup. Why are they being exiled?
Well, ketchup's not exiled, just exiled for putting on a hot dog. And there's a lot of people that feel that way. You talk to people and you tell them, like, that's the oddball out. Like, my whole life, I put ketchup on a hot dog and people are like looking at me like I'm like nuts. You know?
You're supposed to put ketchup on a hot dog.
Well, no, you're supposed to put mustard on a hot dog, but I hate mustard. Ketchup is like what people that don't eat mustard do. You know,
that's right. The tomatoes have actually been relegated to the pasta family. If you want your tomatoes, have a good plate of spaghetti.
Exactly. And if you want to know too, here's another thing with animals. If you want to know what you shouldn't eat, give it to an animal. If they don't eat it, especially a dog, don't eat it. Because if they don't eat it, which, there are, to bring some levity to the show, who here on the show has fed their dog peanut butter? Because that is the funniest crap ever.
That's one of the most recalled items in the world, too.
One of your fans, Rebel, wants to know what you're wearing.
No, it's a print. It's got animals on it. It's got a fox, and it's got mostly fox and deer and stuff like that. I figured since the Pet Guru was coming on, I'd wear this. It's from Onesie Down Under from Australia. It's really cool, and yay! I have a question. I have a question people listening want to know, Rebel. Are you naked under your clothes? Well, isn't everyone naked under their clothes?
Well, not if they have if they're wearing layers, if it's cold out.
No, but that still includes clothes. I mean, yes, I do have a bra on, so but I'm not naked under. I'm naked under all of the clothes everyone is, but Do I have underclothes on under my clothes that you can see?
You're
Some.
making it way too complicated. That's the problem with people in Louisiana. Like, you can't use a quick-witted stuff with people in Louisiana because they're like 2 weeks behind you.
Naked under my clothes, but underclothes are still clothes. So yeah, everyone's naked under their clothes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
And all animals run around naked every day of their life.
I know. And why do we clothe them? That's what I want to know, Pet Health Guru. Why do we clothe our pets?
They look cute.
It's, I think it's a vanity thing with some people. It's just, they want to stand out in the crowd. They can't have a pet for what it really is, this loving little ball of fur. We have to do something that's going to stress them out even more than their diet.
Right.
And, now we wonder why we got cats on Prozac.
They hate wearing clothes. When you put it on them and they keep trying to take it off, that should be the message that they don't like it.
That's
yes, exactly.
Clothes. But what about shoes? For the hot ground outside, would shoes...
How many times have you seen dogs try to take those booties off you put on them?
Well, they're trying to take them off, but I'd rather them not get their paws burnt because
do you think in nature it's not hot in nature and they go to the store and buy booties?
We've had this discussion on my show a couple times, especially being down here in Florida. Now, most of the country isn't too bad, but in Florida, you have to either walk your dogs early or late. They're not going to run out and be standing in the middle of the blacktop on their own in the middle of the hot sun. But we have to make a choice in Florida that if you don't walk early or late when it's cool, do you walk them on the hot blacktop or concrete where it can possibly burn their feet, although they have a higher tolerance than we do in a different basically dermal layer that doesn't get damaged as easily? Or do we walk them on the lawn that's just been coated with 14 different chemicals for weeds and mildew and fertilizer and everything else? So you got, which is the worst of the two evils?
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I have another question I want to pose too, using Juan Juan is our resident expert Hispanic on the show. Okay. And so I have a question, and then I want Juan to answer first, and then I want you, Bill, to answer. Okay. I heard a while ago, I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, Bill, but I heard that Chihuahuas are not even dogs, that they're from the rat family. Now, first, let's get the indigenous answer. Is that true? And do you put them on tacos?
Well, they look like rats. They're more annoying than rats. And no, I have never put one in a taco.
Okay, so Pet Health Guru, your expert knowledge, is that true or is that fake news?
Well, the bulk of the interesting part about that is, although they look like a rat, they have a tendency to act like a pit bull. I mean, I know, right? They think they can take on the whole world, like maybe a little bit too much tequila somewhere's in their upbringing.
Right? It's in their blood. And, it's always the little dogs, too, that act like they're the pit bulls.
They have to. They got to stand up to everything.
It's like me, though, okay? Because I'm small, and I'm the type that, like, I'll go in a mosh pit, and if you're a big dude, I'm taking you out, okay? And you're not even going – I'm too fast to get around the pit before you even know who took you out. But I am the type – I'm like a Chihuahua. If I'm about to get into a fight with I've done this before, like somebody like 6'4", 400 pounds, and I'm like, I'm like a $130 soaking wet. Okay. I go up to him. I look up, I don't have my step ladder with me, so I have to look up at him. And I'm like, I will unalive you right where you stand.
Unalive you?
Yeah, that's the word you have to say nowadays, Rebel. Don't correct me. It's the word you have to say nowadays. Where have you been? Yep. Okay. And they just look at me and they're like, they back off. They're like, yeah, this dude must be crazy, and maybe I don't want to mess with him. I think that's the same with Chihuahuas because they are so vicious that it's so funny to watch them go up against a big dog because the big dog's like, look at him like, oh, you're a little crazy puppy. I'm not messing with you.
Except the difference is that Chihuahua will bite you.
Yeah. Well, I will take a swing. It might not have any impact, but in the pit, there's always the elbow.
Yeah.
I do the Mike Tyson elbow in the pit.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and that's another question for you, Pet Health Guru. When Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off, does that mean he is part Chihuahua?
That's an interesting question. I mean, generally, it's not the ears that they go after. It's usually the throat.
Right? Okay, so I want to
depending
take
on how big the dog they're trying to fight. Right, they might grab onto the leg.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the ankle biter term comes from, Chihuahuas.
That's right.
Yeah, they always go for the ankles.
So do mosquitoes. What's up with that? Like they always go for the ankles. But less now that I've had 2 heart attacks because you know why they go after the ankles.
Well, the main reason is, of course, that you usually don't have very much fat there. Body fat. So the blood flow and the blood vessels are right close to the surface, and that's what they're there for. They're there for a good blood meal. I mean, that's what they thrive on. That's what they live on.
That's right.
So
I have a question then. Do dogs and cats get bitten by mosquitoes?
Well, dogs do. That's where the problem with heartworms comes up.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is when we look at those animals that are infected with heartworms, generally that transmission happens with dogs that are tied out, like in dog houses or kennel situations where they're out, and they always get bit on usually the inside of their legs. And that's because there's very little hair there. And like when I do a veterinarian conference or something like that, talking about our different products that we use for heartworms, I always ask them, the incidence of heartworm in nature is about 3% of all canines. And my question to them is, because they make it sound like it is such a bad thing. And I said, when was the last time you were bit by a mosquito on the top of your head? Mosquitoes don't like hair. The dog is covered in, with the exception of a Mexican hairless, hair. So they're only going to... You
just answered another question of mine then.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it can only apply to maybe boomers in this day and age. But I've always wondered why mosquitoes never bite you around your genitals.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever get bitten around their genital by a mosquito? I haven't.
I haven't either. But then again, I'm not running around naked all the time.
But they bite you through your socks. They bite you through your shirt.
They bite you through jeans.
Like what if you're wearing
like I have
shorts?
gotten bitten through jeans.
What if you're wearing shorts and
you got some tough mosquitoes, I'll tell you.
Well, we are in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
It is the state bird. Okay.
The state bird.
So Juan, I need you, because we're going to do this in a minute. I need you to queue up all of the Pet Health Gurus commercials, all 52 of them. We're going to play them all in this show.
Actually, what would be better would be the probably 200 rants that I had over the years.
Yeah, right. So while he's lining that up, Rebel, I want you to start interviewing the Pet Health Guru because you do his show. So, the Pet Health Guru has his show, Pet Health Cafe. You can see it right behind me. Da-da-da, there it is. And so basically, Rebel, why don't you tell everybody how they can tune into the Pet Health Cafe, what time, what day? You're the engineer. You're making eyes. You should know better than anybody, or else maybe you shouldn't be engineering the show if you don't know when and where it is. Okay, just saying. And then, you've had a lot of experience talking with the
and
pet health guru, so I want you to ask some questions that you think the listeners want to know.
okay, well, make sure to tune in to W4HC on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where you can get all of the information. You can also find out where to get products that would be very helpful. I obviously have some myself.
Yeah, she uses them herself because she's an animal.
I use them myself because they're
Because you live in Louisiana and bestiality is probably your thing.
that is so not true, but it is equally good for humans and pets. Just saying.
And that's a good point that I'm going to have Bill talk about too, about that. Because I used to eat doggy donuts when I was a kid. My older brother used to make me eat them. And they tasted just like donuts.
Most of those would, except for most of those original dog treats were basically the same thing, but without sugar. But then again,
perfect.
they weren't loaded with the chemicals they are today either. That's the big difference.
You reminded me of something. You were talking about food and the different alternatives. Here's something interesting. Okay, so as everybody knows, I got diabetes, and I treat it with food, not medicine. I have found out a lot of interesting things over the years. First of all, pasta is not good for diabetes unless you do it the real way, the Italian way, the way that my ancestors, if you didn't do it, would turn you over and they would turn over. Okay. Growing up, there was only one way to eat pasta. And if you didn't do that, you were shunned from the family, and that's al dente. Because when it's al dente, it doesn't produce the sugar the same as when it's mushy. So when you make it truly al dente, it doesn't affect my sugar level the same as regular would. I'll say that. I'll say mine. Okay. The other thing is bananas. Bananas are both the best and worst for a diabetic, because this is what I found out. And from my own dealing with, I always liked bananas only when they were like not even fully ripe, when they're like partially green. As soon as they get ripe and brown, I never liked them. Okay. That's the difference too. If the more ripe the banana is, the worse it is for you for your sugar. But if it's that greenish color, it doesn't turn into sugar as quickly for me. Now, the next thing I'm going to say has to do with sugar substitutes. So there's this place down the street from me that has some really good froyo that is sugar-free and fat-free. And at first I was eating it until I found out what was in it that I thought was safe. I knew what was in it. I thought it was safe, and I found that it had higher sugar spikes than table sugar, and it was sucralose.
Mm-hmm.
I also found out in Costa Rica at the vegan restaurant where they had coconut sugar ice cream and used coconut sugar, that people deem that as healthier. You got to be careful. You really got to do your research, because, again, coconut sugar has also a high spike in your sugar. So we're not even talking about the ones that we know are chemicals and bad for us. But you really have to talk to somebody like the pet health guru, or really, really do your research before you start eating healthy. Because, like, if it were up to yourself without the knowledge, you'd be drinking V8 juice and probably not do too well from it, because it's like one of the most unhealthy things. So go ahead.
Okay, well, when we look at it, and I mentioned it with the supplements before, every time, and most of these foods, every step of processing takes it farther and farther away from a natural synergistic type product. Mm-hmm. That's why I always say, if you're looking for any vitamin, any mineral, any nutritional item, where is it found in nature? Because the body's very specific with the natural stuff. It's use it or lose it. With the synthetics, the body goes, I don't know what this crap is. Let me store it. Number one, that's one of the problems with, obesity in our countries. We're storing so many toxins in fat cells. And the thing is, even though it says it's from a natural source, once it's been processed, it's not natural anymore.
Exactly.
With the research that we've done in the past with different products and that sort of thing, you start taking components out of a food, even an herb or a botanical, something of that nature. As soon as you remove one thing, it changes the whole structure, even an extract or a tincture.
And I've always wondered, it's like, what do they have to do to this stuff to make it look and taste like a hamburger? Like, that worries me. It worries me what kind of mad science you're doing to create a burger out of a non-burger.
Well, it's interesting. When I graduated from college back in the early 70s, a friend of mine went to work for one of the companies that was actually doing research.
Had college back then?
Yeah, there was a few around, not many. But anyway, he went to work for a company that was creating burgers and fast food. And he called me up, told me about this great job that he had, that this particular chain was going to come out with a new burger. And of course, that was, when you look in the late 60s, early 70s, when fast food was just starting, we all thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Of course, we know sliced bread is bad for us now, too. But anyway, so I said to him, well, when is it coming out? He says, it'll be about 2 years. And I said, 2 years to come up with a new burger? And he told me how the process worked. He said that they started out with a bad quality meat. They add an MSG and other glutenates to make it taste good. And then they start layering all these chemicals below it that will make you sick if you eat a competitor's product, just enhancing the flavor, shelf life, all that stuff. And it's like, this is nuts. He calls me back 2 months later. He said, Bill, I quit. He says, I could not find it in myself to do this to people. It's like, and this is in the 70s. This has been going on for a long time. And so, you're talking about a buildup, of chemicals. And, as Rebel mentioned about, doing some of my stuff for herself, every product that I put out is designed to be used in humans as well. It's pure product. That product that she has is pure herbs. There's no fillers. There are no chemicals. There are no preservatives. And, again, the body's going to use it or lose it. That's all it is. It's that simple. And we're working on synergies of the body. The more detoxification we do, the healthier you're going to be. And it doesn't, when you're detoxifying, you're not just doing like, the medical community says, you're doing a colon cleanse or this cleanse and you're done in a month or 2 months. And one of the most famous comments I get when people walk in the door, I just finished a cleanse that my doctor put me on or my vet put my dog on. I don't know what to do next. And it's like, don't quit. I mean, you're breathing the air, you're drinking the water, you're eating the food. You're just getting a brand new dose of it every freaking day.
Well, that listener has a very interesting question here. Where can we get the products? Before Bill answers that, I think Juan has something for us that might answer those questions. Roll it, Juan.
We all want our pets to be as healthy as possible, and My Paleo Pets is the answer. Let us help relieve your pet of ear infections, allergies, scratching and itching, diabetes, joint problems, cancer, or other ailments by providing our naturally raised, raw, cooked, or frozen BioComplete natural diet entrees that are custom formulated to be species-specific and USDA approved. For more information, visit mypaleopet.com or call 954-971-2500.
I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me excitations.
Do you want to become a wholesale dealer or distributor of healthy and clean foods? Our friends and colleagues at BioComplete Natural Diets and Herbs provide only the best USDA human consumption grade Choice Plus meats, poultry, and seafood. Our food comes from pasture-raised and grass-fed animals, and we never add hormones, preservatives, or chemicals. Our clean and all-natural species-appropriate diets are made daily in small batches from local farm fresh dairy products. Over 100 organic, herbal, and botanical herbal products are available. Buy only the best and eat clean. To learn more, call BioComplete Natural Diet and Herbs at 954-472-1404 or visit biocompletenaturaldiet.com.
I love that music. And
So do
have to
I.
say
It's a shame we
something.
can't use it.
Yeah, we have a scrolling ticker, okay, that Patty sent me a message here about, but we had the scrolling ticker up there already, but not everybody notices it, as we saw. So now we're going to say it. Do you want to say it, Bill, or do I?
Go ahead. I say it 1,000 times a day.
Well, then I have to actually like read it and say it. So we have created a special 20% off discount code valid only at My Paleo Pet. For today's show at 1 p.m., listeners can use it online or in the store. Enter this code at checkout, Pipeman20. No minimum purchase necessary, cannot be combined with any other discounts. One per customer. Offer expires Friday, 7/12/24 at midnight. And then she says, maybe Bill or Dean can mention it. So I mentioned it.
There you go. And thank you, Dean, for doing that. It's like, when I was driving to where I do the show, I texted her and I says, we need a special discount. These are important people that we want to get to. And, it's important that you get onto a good regimen of good products. And of course, being in the marketplace for so many years, one of my biggest frustrations today is that all the knockoff companies that are out there that just kill us every day. And, they steal a little bit of your idea, and you've seen it in the entertainment part as well. They steal a little part of your thing, and then they make the whole thing look bad. And, unfortunately, that's true in most industries, I guess.
I also wanted to say I'm going to call Patty out right now because she messaged me afterwards. Sorry, I wasn't watching. I'm doing other things, but I'm listening. So
Okay, as long as you're listening and hearing the message.
that's all that matters, really. So it is a good thing we said it, though. In all seriousness, It is a good thing we said it. We are running to the end, and before we wrap up with Bill, we're going to have to bring him on more because he's got just so much to talk about. But there's going to be some talk of some expansions to the show anyway that might include that. And, where we're going to expand the days and have segments. And maybe Bill and I will talk about Bill having a segment on the show. It'll only cost him $58 million, but I'll make him a good deal to do it.
Sure.
But I do want to mention that we also have there's a bunch of new segments I've been working on. And there's one we came up with last week. That's really cool because for years I've been talking about doing the Pipeman comics, and I already have a comic caricature of me, but now we have come up with my enemy, my foe, my Joker, and I don't know if he has the picture handy, but let's pull up the anti-Pipe Man. We'll have to come up with a name, but maybe we'll call him Anti-Pipe Man. It is Pipe Man Subconscious. And, that does kind of look like me. The blue matches and, the water. And he's a pretty badass looking dude. He looks a lot better than I do. I might have to turn into Dark Pipe Man. So, all right.
Absolutely.
So let's wrap this, Bill, and give us some of your best advice, ways people can reach you, connect to you on socials, connect to your website, connect to your store, everything that you have to offer. You have exactly 8 seconds to tell them about. I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, that's like a 20-minute lead in.
Right.
Pet Health Cafe, of course, on on these stations. My Paleo Pet is as a retail store, the BioComplete line of products that's got its own separate social media and websites. I do consultations for nutrition and health coaching, both for pets and people, because over the years we had so many people that said, "You fixed my animal, my animal's healthy. Now what can you do for me?" And it's basically
Especially
all
in
the same
South
stuff.
Florida, because people have become animals here, so they're the perfect they're the perfect people for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, with that, I mean, there's 1,000 ways to reach me. The easiest way, obviously, is to start here, and we go from there. And of course, I tell people, if you've got questions, start out with the Pet Health Cafe, because you're going to learn a lot before you ever call me, and you have your questions ready for me, instead of me having to go through the whole seminar, if you will. But that's a great way to get started. And of course, as you know, they're in segments by topics. There's a ton of topics out there. Gee, how many shows did we do in the 18 years?
Hush. I can't
A
even
lot.
count. I
You
can't
can
even
find
count.
it on almost all the outlets, but we encourage you to tune in live. W4
HC.
I had
HC.
that so close. W4HC on Thursdays.
.com. Don't forget the .com.
.com.
Don't-
Oh my goodness.
don't be
another
a
one's wearing
Rachel.
out.
Don't
I
be a
know.
Rachel.
Tune in to W4HC.com Thursdays at 8 p.m. and listen and
8
develop
p.m.
the show,
Eastern.
the questions. 8 p.m. Eastern. Develop
Daylight
the
time at
questions.
this time of year.
It's Eastern. No matter what
You almost
time
got it.
for you,
Well,
it's
wait,
Eastern.
no. It's confusing for other places, like in
Yeah.
Arizona. They don't change the clocks, so they're not going to realize it's daylight savings time.
But
Just
Eastern
right.
time is Eastern time, no matter whether it's daylight savings or not. It's still Eastern time.
No, but
so
when you're
Eastern
talking
time,
about time difference, sometimes it could be off by 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on daylight time.
And
And
for
they
our
should figure out what
Australian
time it is.
listeners, it could be a half an hour off.
Yeah.
Eastern time. Look up on Google Eastern time. What equals Eastern time where you're at, and you'll find it.
Well, what if they don't
Absolutely.
have Eastern time where they're at?
They probably don't. We do. East American Eastern time. Better.
Oh, look,
American
this
Eastern
is
time.
great. This is great. On our Twitch channel, we got a spam comment. Said,
Oh Lord.
hello, sorry for bothering you. I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers, followers, views, chatbots, etc. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Flexible and convenient order management panel, chat panel, everything is in your hands. A huge number of custom settings. Go to, okay, I'll tell you what. If they can actually answer me because they're actually listening or watching right now, tell me where to go to in the next comment. If you don't, I know
You know
you're
what's
a bot.
funny? Their name is Alcoholic Anam, and they're offering promotions.
I know it's
But their
great.
name is Alcoholic.
You gotta love the bots. They're brilliant. Of course, Rebel falls for those bots all the time because she's in
All the time.
Louisiana.
I
Yeah,
do
'cause
not.
she's in Louisiana. She falls for it. She tries to lock her screen door, but she never knew that screen doors had locks on them.
That's not what was said when we talked about that. Once upon a time, you didn't have to lock your screen door, so the door was always open. But it is what it
Okay.
is.
Mhm.
Well, that doesn't exist anymore because now your animals will run out.
That's right.
So
Gotta be
don't
careful
leave
with
your doors open, people. If you care about your pets, don't leave your doors open because where Rebel is, they just open the door and then all the animals are just roaming the streets.
Can't do that. The alligators would eat them.
That's right. And if
I
not
thought
the alligators, the
alligators were your
pythons.
That's right. So I think that's it. I think that's all
Okay.
we have for now. We need to bring Bill back on, but Bill will be on next week's show that I co-host, The Language of Healing, on yet another station, W4WN.com, the Women for Women Network. Don't tell anybody I'm a man on that network, okay, please. Okay. Pipeman doesn't show up to that network, only Dean. Pipeman has been banned from the Women's Network. He tries to sneak in and then gets banned again. And
Pipeman was there yesterday on the Language of Healing.
yeah, a little bit.
That's show.
So yeah, he sneaks in sometimes. So yeah, next week, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday. Yes, that's Eastern Time, wherever Eastern Time is, according to Rebel. And we will have the Pet Health Guru on there too. And we'll be talking about different stuff because we don't want to talk about the same stuff.
No, never.
But we'll talk about different stuff. And it's going to be a really good show. A lot better than this one because, you know, I'm only the co-host. I'm not the host. So I can't ruin the show. And there's none of my nuts are there. You know, so it will be a good show. And so this was a good show. And I love that we had the Pet Health Guru on with us. I love the Pet Health Guru. I love that Juan was here taking care of everything. And Rebel, hi, how you doing? Everybody, hey, final words, Bill, before I'm more than too late to end the show.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it's great to see all of you together. Even though you're in separate locations, so you don't kill each other. I understand that. But no, great, great time. I enjoy doing it. You know, getting the word out there, and that's what the whole thing's about. We want to be healthy. We want to be happy, and make a difference in this world.
And I'm a healthy, happy pet because of the Pet Health Guru. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And you can check out the Pet Health Cafe on any podcast platform out there, but you're better off just going to pethealthcafe.com because we have the buttons to all of them right there. You can go to one place, get it all. Thanks for being here. Be here next week. Everybody be here next week that's listening, watching, and tell all your friends because next week, I can't tell you what it's going to be, but it's going to be good. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm telling you right now, it is huge. Thanks for being here on the Adventures of Pipeman. Roll it, Juan.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.